Hi friends, and today I'm going to show you how to guarantee you have a disastrous practice sale. Wait a second. Well, this thought process comes from Charlie Munger. And Charlie was Warren Buffett's famous partner and an amazing thinker. And he developed one of the most prolific and really my favorite thought process and thought model, and I'll share this with you right now, applied to you selling your practice. So this thought model is called inversion. Now, Charlie was an air traffic controller in the military for a short time, and they kind of threw him in the seat, and he's quite funny. And he said most people, when they would be charged to direct flight traffic, would say, okay, how do I keep these planes safe? But Charlie is a very different bird, and Charlie said, how could I guarantee to kill everybody on these planes? In other words, what would be the things that if I did would be guaranteed to end in disaster? And he identified two things. One is direct them into icing conditions. And the second one is enable them to run out of fuel, basically, fly them in a pattern and misguide them on the fuel side. And so he thought, okay, great. As long as I don't send them into icing or allow them to run out of fuel, then I'll be fine. And so let's apply this exact same thought process to you using Charlie Munger's inversion. So if you want to guarantee that you'll have a terrible practice sale, there are three things that you should do. The first one is to not know the true value of your practice. A recent example, we had a practice owner and they said, Michael, I would love to sell our practice for 6 million, but anything over 5 we would take. The offers came in, the first offer 6.1 million, and they thought that was their dream price and they would have taken it. The second offer came in 8.4 million and they basically said, hold the horses here. This is exactly the offer we need to take. And our team at Transitions Elite, and by the way, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Dr. Michael, founder of Transitions Elite. We help sell medical practices, veterinary, dental, and optometry practices. So then the third offer came in, all cash, 12 million. So if they did not know the value, and they didn't as an individual, but we did representing them, that we knew the big fish were out there and they were going to come in with an over-the-top offer. So if you do not know the value of your practice, then you are guaranteed to have a disastrous sale because you put the buyers in control. Second is no competitive bidding. So in that exact same example, if they would have gone out and sold one-on-one to whoever came by, they would have accepted that $6.1 million offer. Now, why did one buyer offer 6.1 and another offer 12? They did that through competitive bidding. So if you want to have a terrible, regretful practice sale, then the key thing to do is to go out and all the buyers that are soliciting you right now, take their offer, take their letter of intent, and start negotiating with them one-on-one. Guaranteed you'll have a horrible practice sale. And now the third item is being disorganized. So what happens when you sign the letter of intent is you go into a due diligence period. And due diligence is really where they fact check everything. Now, here's what happens. If you are disorganized, a little bit sloppy, like we all are as business owners, I am as disorganized and sloppy. I'm ideas, right? I want to go. I want to start new things. When it comes to the meticulous checking of accounting and bookkeeping and compliance, I mean, I absolutely hate it. And so if you are the same, when you go and enter into due diligence, they are going to pick you apart. They're going to be like birds of prey cleaning bones. And they're going to say, oh, well, here it says this, but over here it says that. So which one should we believe? Which one do we trust? And by doing that, A, it's going to extend the due diligence. So when we take a client through due diligence, we will do it in 120 days. So everybody knows this is going to be a race. It's going to be a sprint through the due diligence. If you're disorganized, we have to go find documents that they're now requesting. Then that due diligence period is going to extend from 120 days to 180 to 360, and the buyer is going to penalize you hugely. So they will drop the price for every little infraction or misrepresentation that they find. They're going to say, and they're right to do so, they're going to say, I don't have the confidence that the numbers that this practice is telling me are in fact real. And then the second aspect of this is, of course, the mistakes in the document, and very common to do. So what's the solution to these three things if we think about it? So not knowing your true value. The key here is to get a practice value estimate. Now, you don't need a bloated $5,000 80-page document that nobody reads except flipping down to the last valuation page. What you need is to speak with somebody that knows the value of your practice, knows the buyers, and knows your area. This is critical, and really you should do this at least every 2 years. If you haven't done it recently, it's part of your strategic arsenal. Guess what? Big businesses, they know their value. Us small guys, we don't think in terms of that, and we wait till the end, and then we're surprised one way, good or the other, of what that valuation is. If you know the value, then you're not going to be fooled, because you can be fooled in two different ways. You can have smoke blown up your rear, where someone says, "Oh, I'm interested in your practice. I'll pay this amount," and then they engage you in a one-on-one conversation when it's fantastical. Or the other side, that people can lowball you thinking that you don't know the true value of the practice. So very important. Secondly, for competitive bidding, you must work, well, no. If you want to have a disastrous sale, do not work with a broker, sell it on your own, but work with a broker. Now obviously, Transitions Elite is a broker, but I remember when going through school to study M&A that my professor put a slide on the board and it said, "This is the only slide I show my clients." On average, using broad scope of data, a business that sells without representation, without a broker, gets 5 times profitability. And a business that sells with a broker gets 7, so almost 50% higher. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, you know what? I am never going to sell a business alone. It makes no sense. And that's exactly what we're seeing here using Charlie Munger's inversion framework. Now, the third aspect in terms of being disorganized is actually going to be the exact same as the first one. It's going to be to get and use a broker. So a mediocre broker will do the following. They will get you organized, so they'll solve the organizational part. And then once the buyer engages, they kind of back off because they don't have the skills or the chops to be able to really negotiate and force the process ahead. But that's still valuable, right? You still get the organizational elements so that you're not going in blind. A great broker, one that has the M&A background, will also set up this competitive bidding process. So they'll drive the competition in the bidding and then drive the due diligence to the end because they know there's a shot clock. And if that due diligence extends, your valuation is going to drop significantly. So 3 things: know your true value, make sure that you do competitive bidding, and make sure that you're organized going into the sale. And so if you want help, I have a link in the description below for a free practice value estimate. Click the link, sign up. There's no cost, no obligation. You'll speak with myself or one of my team members, and we'll solve that true value question for you. And then you'll at least have that for your strategic planning.